A few years ago, I was working night deliveries for a small pizza shop on the edge of town. I'd had the job for almost 2 years, and nothing strange had ever happened. Most nights were boring: empty roads, quiet neighborhoods, the same routine over and over. One night in late October, about 15 minutes before we closed, we got one last order. Everyone groaned, because last minute deliveries were always the farthest away. The order was simple: a large pepperoni pizza, garlic bread, and a bottle of cola. The address was on a rural road just outside town. I grabbed the food and headed out. As I drove farther away from town, the streetlights disappeared. Fog started rolling across the road. My GPS began glitching, recalculating, like it wasn't sure where I was. Eventually, it directed me to a single house set back from the road. A porch light was glowing. I remember feeling relieved. It looked normal. I walked up to the door and noticed it was already open slightly. I knocked. "Pizza delivery." I heard footsteps inside, slow, dragging. A tall, pale man opened the door. He didn't blink. He didn't smile. He just stared at the pizza box, like it was the only thing he cared about. I told him the total. He handed me exact cash. Before he closed the door, he said something odd. "You came faster than the last one." I didn't know what he meant. I laughed it off, went back to my car, started driving. About 5 minutes later, the shop called me. They asked if I had finished the delivery. I said yes. There was a pause, a long one. Then they told me the customer had just called asking where his pizza was. I thought they were joking. They read the address back to me, same house. Then they added, the man on the phone said he lived alone and hadn't received anything. I don't know why, but I turned the car around and went back. When I got there, the porch light was off. The house was completely dark. It didn't look lived in anymore. It looked abandoned. I called the customer myself. He answered. He told me he was still at work. He hadn't been home all night. He also said the house had no electricity, and that porch light hadn't worked in weeks. That's when I contacted the police. They searched the house the next morning. There was no furniture, no power, no sign anyone had lived there for years. The front door lock was rusted and couldn't even be used. But in the middle of the living room floor, they found the pizza box. It was still warm, and the only footprints in the dust were mine. They led from the entrance, halfway into the room, and then stopped, like I had walked in, handed the pizza to someone standing there, and left. 2 weeks later, the shop received another order from that same address. "We don't deliver there anymore."